His hammer might be a lost relic of days gone by on Cybertron, but his hammer is bigger. Hello guys, it has been a long time, I know, but I am back. This is Awesome John 22 coming at you with another review, and this is a whole new type of review I like to call a versus review, where we take a look at two versions of a character from the same series or series similar enough that the characters are meant to represent the same stage in a character's development. In this case, we're taking a look at Transformers Prime Ultra Magnus in his two Voyager class incarnations. Which one is better? Which one should you pick up to represent Ultra Magnus in your collection? We find out today. First of all, I want to apologize for any engine noises you might hear as this review goes on. Apparently, the management here at my apartment complex thought it was a good idea to trim the bushes today, and so there's a guy trimming the bushes today. And it's a little annoying. But what are you going to do? I only have limited time to film reviews, and I've got to take what I can get. Especially if I'm going to manage not to take so frickin' long to get my reviews out going forward. I hope the video quality is a little better than it was last time I made one of these videos. I have since gotten my hands on an HD camera, a very nice one, as well as some really good lighting. And I'm still experimenting a little bit, but I think things are looking a little bit better, and on my end especially, and I think, you know, they probably will for you too. So yeah, you can see here we have our two combatants, Beast Hunters, Ultra Magnus, and the Challenger, who was from that line with the crazy automorphy weapons. I don't remember what it's called. And yeah, we're going to take a look at them both at their alt mode, robot mode, and transformation, and detailing, and decide once and for all which is the better Ultra Magnus, starting with their alt modes through the power of jump cuts. And here they are in those alt modes. As you can see, both figures look pretty nice. Taking a look first at the Beast Hunters Ultra Magnus, we can see he's got the same problems that the equivalent Optimus Prime figure had. Again, I do not remember what the name of the series was, but you all know which one I'm talking about. It was the series with the automorph weapons. You can see back here, he's got the same problems. You can clearly see a lot of robot bits. If we zoom in here, especially. No clear back of the truck, but it's a bit rectified while I, fiddle with this weapon. With the addition of this back section, which greatly resembles Beast Hunter's Optimus Prime's wing pack, as well as the hammer, the Forge, I think it was called in the show, which is pretty well painted with nice silver. He's got this cool icy blue color all across him, and you have his chest there in place of the windows. The grill has a nice Autobot symbol on it. And that's really about it. There's riveting details. Very minimal panel lines throughout. And overall, he looks pretty good. And I like him. I do like this truck mode. Moving on to his competitor, we see we have a different truck resembling more like a fire engine, with a nice, very large Autobot symbol there. Again, some silver paint, some nice riveted details, a darker blue this time, a far less descript front. Doesn't really resemble any kind of vehicle you might see on the road, really, and a back section that looks a little bit less like robot parts unless you look directly down, because his back section is completely hollow from the top. Now, what do I think about these two vehicle modes? I like them both. I'm just going to come right out and say it. But I would rate this one a little bit higher, and I'm going to tell you why. First of all, Yes, the wings and the, which can fold out, by the way, as you can see. The wings are a little silly on a truck, but they fold away pretty nicely. You cannot really tell too much that they're there. They look like he's just hauling something. Moving on to his counterpart here, we see his weapon storage is a little less subtle. We have a giant gun on the top and a missile attached to the side. And while it looks kind of cool, it doesn't really scream robots in disguise to me. Also, there is the issue that I'm going to keep coming back to throughout this review, that there's only one missile. And while it does remind you of G1 Ultra Magnus's missile, why couldn't there be two? Why couldn't there be two? So yeah, the winner of this round is Beast Hunter's Ultra Magnus. I just think he looks better. Now, is that to say I think that our challenger here doesn't look good? No, I think he actually looks quite good. He just doesn't scream Ultra Magnus to me, and this is a competition over which is the better version of the character first and foremost, so I have to take points off. I mean, just look at this guy. He doesn't look like any version of Ultra Magnus we've ever seen. He doesn't remind you of the G1 Ultra Magnus. He doesn't look like any of the past toys that I can recall. He looks like a completely new character. Whereas this guy is clearly meant to be Transformers Prime Ultra Magnus. He looks like that character. And that's really all there is to be said about it. So let's move on to the transformations. Starting off with Beast Hunter's Ultra Magnus, what we're going to do first is we're going to take these missiles off of his wings. Next we're going to come in here and pop the hammer off of his back, leaving this kind of open wing section. Next we are going to fold the wings out, allowing us to get our fingers in here a little more easily and just pop the whole thing off. With that all set to the side, we're now going to fold these back, come here, fold down these panels, do the same thing on both sides. Then we're going to come in here and fold down these panels, which can be a little tricky because they do tab in there. If you can see, they tab in underneath these other panels. Yeah. There we go. Which frees up space to fold this out, fold these out, fold these up, and then just pull the arms out like so. And it's really not that complicated. It looks really complicated, but it's not. Everything flows actually surprisingly well, at least going from this mode into robot mode. There's my dogs again in the background. At least going from this mode to robot mode, everything it folds out pretty well. From there, we are going to take these and fold them like so. I believe that's correct. It'll probably end up not being correct. Just watch. I'm back, guys. I'm back. No. Fold these around like so, and then reverse the orientation of the arms. So they're like that. Now we're going to turn him around this way. Fold this back, revealing his head. If I'm actually pointing at it, I'll show you that again. This was around here. We fold it like that. And then bring this up. And look at that. I actually got everything right the first time. How surprising. But yeah. So we're about here now. You can see where he's really coming together. Fold down. Take these. Fold them out. Like so. Revealing his feet. Then fold these panels down to make his shins. Aside from a few minor differences in the upper area, he's just like the equivalent Optimus Prime figure that we got from this line that I'm sure many of you have played around with and who I do plan on reviewing at some point. So, angling up a bit here, we can see Ultra Magnus in his robot mode. Zoom out. And he looks pretty freaking good. And he does have some accessories. We already saw them before. He has these missiles, which I'm not going to show you. They attach into his giant shoulders. And you can then angle his giant shoulders forward and shoot them, and it's stupid. It looks bad, and it doesn't work very well. But he has these missiles, which I like to store, once again, on the wings, just on these different tabs instead. So put them like that, and they look kind of like thrusters or something now, which I think is pretty cool. As for the wings, this peg here that was holding it onto his truck mode, it's on a platform that folds up. And we come around to his back, and this platform just clips onto his back, like so. It's a little tricky. But once it's on there, you've got these nice Beast Hunters Prime-esque wings, and in lieu of a gun, he has this hammer, which is the forge thingy from the show that played a part a couple of times and then didn't really do anything anymore. And he looks good. Zooming in on his head sculpt, you can see his head really resembles the on-screen counterpart. Going down, you can see he really is just a remold of Optimus Prime. The colors are nice. He gets this really nice dark blue on the arms and the shoulders that wasn't present in vehicle mode and really serves to break things up and enhance things. And I really like it. Posability is good. We've got ball joints. We've got hinge joints. We've got ball joints. We've got hinge joints. We've got a ball joint. It's very nice. And very, very series accurate, except for the wings, which led us to believe that at some point he would take over the role of Optimus Prime in the show, kind of like how he did in the movie. But he never did, and it was a little disappointing, but still cool that they gave us the option to show off the wings a little bit. You can see great detail on them, though they are just gray plastic. And yeah, there's not a whole much more to say about this guy. He looks like Ultra Magnus, and I like it. So let's move on to our Challenger over here. And let's see if maybe his transformation and his robot mode can pull him ahead. First, we're going to pop off the weapons. Really easy. And this guy's... That's what this guy really boils down to, is really easy. He has actually, in scheme, a similar transformation to the other version of Ultra Magnus we got in Transformers Prime, but he's a little easier. First of all, we're going to pop these panels here, like so. Just kind of loosen them up on both sides, as you know. Next, we're going to come forward here, and we're just going to pop these panels down as well. And we're going to fold this up, and we're actually almost done transforming him already. Turning him over and pulling these out, you can see there he is. He's already coming together. Separate the legs, straighten the legs, fold up these feet, come to the back, and bring this panel down like so, which is a little bit of a struggle, but not too bad, which allows you to lift his head up into place. Fold out his hands, fold these bits forward, and then come here, and this is actually really cool. I want to point this out first of all. This is really cool. You fold these side panels around his arms to flesh out his arms and prevent there from being arm kibble at the same time. Very, very cool. And you do something similar here on the feet. Looking down, zooming in on his feet, on his legs, actually, you can fold these wheels up on both sides, rotate them up, and fold them around, and they peg into place on the inside. And now you have these really cool fleshed out legs that make use of the kibble as like armor, and it's very, very nice. Much simpler, much cleaner, but still an interesting transformation. He ends up being, putting them side by side for a second, at the head, he ends up being a bit taller than Beast Hunter's Ultra Magnus. He's a little more bulky in the shoulders in the right places. Ultra Magnus has the really high shoulders, but, you know, our our less screen accurate Ultra Magnus has, I think, nicer, bulkier shoulders, and he's got multiple missiles in his shoulders. And looking down the body a little bit, you can see he's still got the red and blue in the chest. He's still got, you know, vaguely similar legs. You can see the concept art had already come back, and this guy is based a little bit more on what the concept art of this guy probably looked like. And I like it. I dig it. I think it looks good. We've got more silver on our Challenger over here than we do on this guy. Less gray plastic on our Challenger than we have on this guy. I need to stop doing this because it's probably making people sick. But yeah, overall, like from a profile, like from their shape and everything, they look fairly similar. Their head sculpts are fairly similar. Zooming in on this guy's head sculpt, it looks like Ultra Magnus still. Like that heroic Autobot look, kind of comparing them both. You can see, if my camera would stop getting stuck, they're similar. They're similar head sculpts. These guys are supposed to be the same character, except, I don't know, guys. As of right now, I still think this guy is pulling out ahead. So let's take a quick look at the last bit of this guy's robot mode, his weapons. We have this gun that is very, very cool, and he can hold it in either hand, and it's big and bulky and intimidating. Ratcheted elbows. Very cool looking. Looks like he would just mess something up. But if we pull it out, we can see we can use the little automorphing weapons trick and turn it into a hammer that is much more unique looking and much larger than this guy's hammer. And while usually it would just pop back into place, they did something cool with this. There's this little blue tab right here. If you tab it into place, it remains in hammer mode. And again, he can hold it in either hand. I like it in his right hand. I think it looks a little bit cooler there. The only problem is, once you actually get it in there, it's so heavy, his arm just flops. So I actually like to do something pretty cool and have him, if it would stop falling out. First review back, guys, and I'm already messing stuff up. But yeah, I like to, again, God, have him kind of carrying it on his shoulder, looking kind of badass. You also still have the missile, which you can plug in to either arm or either shoulder, like so. So to get a complete picture, let's focus on just this guy for a second. Here is his complete and armed up robot mode. And I like it. I like it a lot. But to be perfectly honest, he's still losing out a bit. He still is. Because this guy still is an Ultra Magnus to me. And that's really the problem. We're competing. These guys are competing to see which one is the better representation of a character. And he doesn't look like Prime Ultra Magnus enough to be confused with Prime Ultra Magnus. And he doesn't look like any other incarnation of Ultra Magnus that I can think of. I mean, he kind of, I guess, resembles G1 Ultra Magnus in his basic structure. Get rid of the missile, too, because it looks really out of place with only one. Which, again, why is there only one missile? Why couldn't they have just put two missiles with this guy? But yeah, he looks kind of, I guess, like in shape-wise, a little bit like G1 Ultra Magnus, but at the same time, it's very clear that he isn't an homage to G1 Ultra Magnus. So, what do I think about these guys? Who do I think wins the title of Best Transformers Prime Ultra Magnus? Well, I think it's going to have to go to this one. He's a little bit slimmer, a figure, a little bit smaller, his weapon's not as exciting, but he definitely is Ultra Magnus, whereas the other one isn't. So, what I like to do is I like to imagine that this is Ultra Magnus, and this is Sentinel Prime. Look at some of the artwork of Sentinel Prime as a character. This guy actually looks quite a bit like him. So he is Sentinel Prime on my shelf. And he is Ultra Magnus. And because they are pretty similar in design, I don't usually display them right next to each other. But I do display them together as separate characters. And if I were you guys, that's what I would do too. So, yeah, overall, Both good figures, both interesting transformations. This one I think wins in transformation, whereas this one wins in accuracy and detail. I would say, you know, if you have the opportunity, pick both of them up. But if you're only going to pick up one version of Ultra Magnus, pick up this one. This one is Ultra Magnus. But yeah, if you liked what you saw, please remember to like the video or to subscribe or leave a comment down below if you feel so inclined. Be sure to check in the description below for a link to my blog and for a link to my collections video. Take a look at it. If there's anything you see that you'd like me to review, shoot me a comment and I'll see what I can do. This has been Awesome John 22, and I will talk to you guys later. Yeah.